Hey folks, before we dive in, just a quick reminder. If you want to stay updated with the latest and most important news, make sure to follow S News. Support us by subscribing, liking and dropping a comment. It really helps us keep bringing you these stories. The Middle East is once again on fire, as a wave of dramatic events tears through the night sky like wildfire. Missiles have been launched, sirens are blaring, and engines roar as forces rush into battle. Israel, the United States, and the entire region are entering what could be the most intense phase of the year so far. Iran is pushing past the red line, but this time the US response could be more extreme than anyone expected. A cyber attack has rattled Israel, and there's suspicion that a missile directly targeted Ben Gurion International Airport, a key hub in Israel. Europe immediately responded with a strong warning, declaring it would destroy any Russian air defense systems that appear in Iran, a message that couldn't be clearer to Moscow. Former President Donald Trump joined the chorus of warnings to Tehran after a surprising statement by Iran's foreign minister hinted that a US preemptive strike was no longer just theoretical. Israel continues ramping up its airstrikes, hitting Hamas's leadership and logistics bases in Gaza. Meanwhile, the US and Israel launched a major offensive against the Iran-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen, a serious escalation in the regional conflict. Turkey also jumped in, warning it would cut off military involvement if any power tries to push Syria into a broader Middle Eastern war, risking a full-scale regional firestorm. Israel has issued strong warnings that it will destroy any Russian air defense systems deployed in Iran, and Israeli officials stated that the military is fully prepared to take out such systems, including the Russian-made S-300, if national security is threatened. MP Zeev Elkin from the National Unity Party said Israel has already proven its ability to defeat Russian defense systems in recent operations against Iran, and the IDF is ready to do so again if more advanced systems like the S-400 appear. Elkin added, "We don't want this, and we've repeatedly asked Russia not to send S-300s to Iran, but if they do, we'll be forced to act." These tensions come after the 12-day war in June 2025, known as the insurgency, during which Israeli jets struck Iranian nuclear facilities in Natanz, Fasa and Shafa'an, as well as military bases, warehouses and air defense systems. 3 out of the 4 S-300 systems Russia had provided in 2016 were destroyed. According to the Wall Street Journal, a follow-up attack on October 26, 2024, took out the last S-300 systems protecting Tehran's airport and oil and gas fields, leaving these strategic sites exposed. With the help of F-35 fighter jets and drones operating from Iranian airspace, Israel achieved full air superiority without losing a single aircraft. Elkin emphasized that Israel has consistently warned Russia against arming Iran, especially considering Iran's ongoing nuclear program. Trump warns Iran again. Former US President Donald Trump issued a strong warning to Iran after an unexpected admission from Iran's foreign minister about the damage caused by the June attacks. Trump said he's ready to continue bombing Iran's nuclear sites if necessary. On May 21st, Trump doubled down, announcing on social media that he would authorize another strike on Tehran's nuclear facilities if required. His statement followed an interview in which Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Ari made surprising comments about the extent of the previous attack's impact. Trump confirms Iran's uranium facility was destroyed. After Iran's admission that its uranium facility in Fasa had suffered heavy damage, former US President Donald Trump responded by saying, "Of course it was destroyed, just as I said, and we'll do it again if we have to." Trump's remarks came after some reports claimed that US and Israeli airstrikes had only delayed Iran's nuclear program by a few months. Iran also made statements to that effect. Trump compared his decision to the historical one made by President Harry Truman to drop the atomic bomb during World War II. He claimed that the June 22nd airstrike prevented Iran from moving forward with developing a nuclear bomb. However, Iranian Foreign Minister Archie declared that Iran would not abandon its nuclear program, saying it was a matter of national pride. In an interview, Archie said Iran had temporarily paused uranium enrichment due to the severe damage, but insisted the program is peaceful and would resume soon. These tough statements from both Washington and Tehran came just ahead of a new round of nuclear negotiations between Iran and the EU3, the UK, France and Germany, scheduled to take place in Istanbul later this week. Despite the growing tensions, Iran's Foreign Minister Ari left the door open for a deal, saying one could be reached if the US agreed to continue lifting sanctions, calling it a win-win outcome. Israel escalates strikes on Gaza. Despite international warnings, the Israeli military continued to ramp up its airstrikes on Gaza yesterday, leading to more serious casualties among Palestinians. The Israeli army is still heavily restricting the delivery of humanitarian aid, worsening the crisis. According to recent Palestinian media reports, 8 people, including children, were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a home in northwest Gaza City on the night of May 22nd. The exact number of children killed is still unclear. Earlier, other reports confirmed the deaths of 15 people on May 22nd in separate Israeli attacks, including a deadly airstrike on the Al-Anati refugee camp west of Gaza City, which alone killed at least 13 and injured over 50. Most victims were civilians, women and children included. In addition to direct casualties from bombings and ground operations, Gaza has recorded dozens of deaths due to starvation, many of them children. Dr. Mohammed Abu Sunya, director of Asin Hospital, said 21 children died from severe malnutrition and hunger in just 72 hours. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres told the UN Security Council that the level of death and destruction in Gaza is unprecedented in recent years. Rachel Coman, director of the Children's Relief Fund, told reporters the food situation in Gaza is, well, completely desperate and at its lowest point ever. On January 20th, UNRWA warned that the entire population of Gaza, including over 1 million children, is suffering from hunger. International reaction to the Gaza crisis. The worsening humanitarian crisis caused by Israel's blockade and heavy fighting triggered strong reactions globally. 25 Western countries, including the UK, France, Italy, Canada and Australia, issued a joint statement criticizing Israel's role in the crisis. Western leaders have called for an immediate, unconditional and permanent ceasefire in Gaza to save civilian lives. US. On Tuesday, the United States imposed sanctions on what it described as a major oil smuggling and sanctions evasion network linked to violence in Yemen and the UAE. These operations targeted an Iran-backed group accused of launching rockets at Israel. The US Treasury said the individuals and 5 entities sanctioned are among the top importers of oil products and money launderers, funneling hundreds of millions of dollars into terrorist operations. Deputy Treasury Secretary Mao Finder said these networks collaborate with opportunistic businessmen to import oil products and funnel the profits into militant activities. He added that these shady networks are the backbone of the terror machine and pledged to use every tool available to dismantle them. This follows repeated rocket and drone attacks against Israel since November 2023, just a month after Hamas's October 7th massacre. Most of the projectiles were intercepted or missed their targets. On Monday, the Israeli Defense Forces said its drones struck the Houthi-controlled Hodeidah port in Yemen in retaliation for ongoing attacks by the Iranian-backed group. The strikes reportedly destroyed military infrastructure in the port's western sector after the Houthis tried to rebuild previously targeted areas. Earlier this year, the United States had also bombed the same group, but later reached a ceasefire agreement in May. Despite that, the Houthis continued to attack Israel. The US Treasury has sanctioned the Houthi-affiliated company Highs several times in the past year. Turkey vowed to intervene directly to stop any effort by Syrian government forces or rebels to claim autonomy in southern Syria. Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, in remarks on July 22nd, appeared to target Israel, accusing it of trying to divide Syria. He condemned Israel's airstrikes on Damascus last week, calling them a sabotage operation that undermines peace efforts. Turkey views recent clashes in southern Syria, especially between Druze and Bedouin communities, as part of Israel's regional destabilization strategy. Fidan voiced support for Syria's new government and called on rebel groups to agree to a ceasefire. He said Israel wants Syria to remain divided, unstable and weak, a burden on the region. He also warned Kurdish nationalist militias and others not to use the chaos as an opportunity to seek independence, calling it a potential military disaster. Turkey considers the US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, a terrorist organization, and has carried out multiple cross-border operations against them. Fidan said Turkey supports peace negotiations and stability in Syria, but will not allow threats to its own security. Israel did not respond to Fidan's statements, but claims its strikes on Syrian targets last week were defensive. Finally, thanks for sticking with us and listening all the way through. If you want to stay informed, don't forget to follow S News and keep an eye out for future videos. Oh, and be sure to subscribe